Today I'm starting trials for Pashmina yarn by Madeline Tosh. This is a sport weight machine washable yarn. It is, let's pull out the label here, 75% merino, 15% silk, 10% cashmere. You're going to get 360 yards and a 100-gram skein. And this yarn is, the wool is sourced from Peru. It's milled in Italy, and it is dyed in Texas. And as of today, it says it is available in 150 colors. And if you know Madeline Tosh, you know their colors are amazing. So I will be knitting up swatches of this, giving you my thoughts on them, but then I'm going to be putting them through trials like wear tests, sun fading tests, stain tests, all that kind of stuff. And I will be back with my final thoughts. I can tell you right now, this feels really soft. It does feel good. So anyway, be back soon. The final fabric feels nice. It feels soft. Very, like, you could totally wear this on your neck easily. Yeah, it feels really nice. This is a little swatch of Hedgehog Fibers Skinny Single, and this is just 100% merino. This is not superwash, I don't think, because it says to hand wash. This doesn't say it's superwash, it just says merino, but I'm assuming it has to be, because I don't know how else you could machine wash this like they say to do. And yeah, this is softer. This has a finer feel to it, like a more delicate softness to it. This one is soft also, but it's hard to describe. Like, I can just feel, like, it's ludicrous to call this scratchy because it's not at all, but compared to this, it definitely feels more of like a scratchiness. Interesting. Huh, yeah, so this is soft. This feels nice. It feels really nice. I kind of like rub it on my skin, actually. Anyway, I will be back with updates from the trials. The trials. Okay, here we are after my wear test. Here's the clean swatch. This is after 1 day of my wear test. So the wear test is just meant to simulate like use, sort of like, especially like the area under the armpits, under the underarms that gets rubbed on like back and forth a lot. So you can see here, this is just after 1 day. It's definitely got a lot of fiber like coming up. It's distorted because I put it in my shoe and walked on it for the morning. So I was walking on it for about 5 hours. And so that's the distortion that came from being walked on. I'm gonna peel these off. So there it is, cleaned up, like if you were to get a little D-pillar and put them next to each other. It's interesting, this one is like, this one's darker and more bluish black looking, and this one looks way more gray, even though they're from the same skein of yarn. Okay, so next is going to be the wash test. All right, here we are back with the swatch after washing it per the manufacturer's instructions. So in this case, this was machine washed cold. I put it on the delicate cycle and then I laid it flat to dry. And you can tell it looks way better than it did in the last little clip. Here's the control swatch just to compare the two. And again, like the control still looks a little bit darker. I think the test swatch has a bit more fuzz to it, and that might be sort of defraying the color a little. But honestly, like, it looks fantastic. Of course, I had to pick, like, there were pills in the previous section. You saw there were pills, so I had to pull all that off. But after removing all that, it still looks really good. Next test will be the dye, like, sun bleaching test. I'm going to put it on the sun for a while, and I'll be back with the update. Alrighty, so we're back after the sun fading test. I've got my king rooster here, and this is just this is how I'm making sure the color is right, because if you just have this gray against the blue table, it's like the color doesn't come out the right way. So this is here. We keep him up high on our tallest shelf, and he looks after our house. Okay, so here is the trial swatch, test swatch. And this was out 24/7, out in the sun for 5 days. And you can definitely tell there has been some fading. And like a bit of yellowing too, which is curious. But if you look at it alone, still looks pretty good. So yeah, a bit of fading. Now I'm going to do the Velcro test. All right, got my little sheet of Velcro here, and I'm just going to basically press this on there. Ugh, it's horrible to do. All right, now let's give it a rip. It's like waxing. Oh my goodness. Oh. Okay. Oh, you know what I should have done? Okay, I'm gonna do it on the other side. I'm gonna only do half of it, because it's almost like we're at the point where this swatch is like damaged enough that to compare it to the control swatch for this particular test is not going to work well. Okay, let's pull it. And then it honestly is better than, is better than I thought it would be. Like, you can't even tell that this is the half that was not Velcroed. I think, let me see. Yeah, you can't even tell. This side, I mean, it does have a bit more fuzz. Like, it is a little more fuzzy looking at it this way, but looking at it straight on, like if you had a piece of your sweater that had Velcro attached to it and then you had to pull it off, dude, you can't even tell. Let me do it again. I guess at this point we're simulating like some sort of Velcro attacker, because I don't know why you would have the same piece Velcroed twice. Yeah, that definitely looks way worse now that it's been done twice to the same spot. It's definitely showing a lot of damage. Like it's looking not that great. But still, I have to say, did better than I thought it would do. I kind of want to do this one. Should I do it? Okay, I'm going to do just a piece of this one to see, like, if you had a really pristine item without damage on it already, how would it do? Yeah, the damage is more noticeable on this one, for sure, because the other part is so pristine. You can see it pulling up even just like individual fibers out of that stitch. And there it is, face on. So yeah, it's damaged it. It's not horrible though. Okay, so I'm gonna pause the video. The next thing I was gonna do was sort of like a stain test. So I'm gonna grab that stuff and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got here some coffee, mustard, and berry jam. And this is my first video doing this, so I'm just sort of, what I think I'm gonna do first is just sort of like touch the stuff onto the fabric and see, like, oh, if you just dropped some on yourself like that, right? And it doesn't get rubbed in. It's just sitting there. And you grab a napkin and dab it away. Let's see what happens. Okay. Clean that thing off. Let's do the jam. Oh man. Oh no. There it goes. Shoot. Why am I such a messy eater? Ugh, I'm getting all over my hands too. I'm definitely gonna have to refine some of my ideas for this review series. But, well, it's kind of cool. You can see it's just like hovering on top of the fabric. See if we can like very gently lift it. Okay, at that point, like, I wouldn't want to dab it anymore because I would be forcing it into the fabric. Okay, and now the coffee, which I'm not sure how to do this without making a giant mess. I probably need a straw, huh? That's what I should do. I'm gonna see if I have a straw. Okay, totally lucked out and I had exactly one straw in my kitchen. So, get some coffee, and it's like, oh no, I spilled it all down my front. Dang it. This is one of my favorite things about animal fibers. It's the way the liquid just hovers on top of it. Okay, so I managed to soak up most of it. Now, I'm not sure what I should do next. If I should dab at it, like a lot of people dab at stains, even though you're really not supposed to. Or if I should rinse it first. Okay, I'm gonna rinse it. Actually, I have water here. How about we just put some water on there and then dab at it. Okay. Put some water, put some water, put some water. And then we'll do the big no-no that you're not really supposed to do, but like everybody does it anyway, which is like, oh, can I get it out with water? Yeah, like a lot of the mustard came out, but you can still see a little bit of the yellow. Okay, now let's do the jam. Oh, that actually came out pretty well. Just like pushing, I'm pushing pretty hard at it. Okay, now the coffee. Yeah, so actually, those all came out pretty well. It's really just the mustard that's still there. And honestly, if it were me, I would just pull that piece off. Those little fibers. Oop. And then it's mostly gone. And I'd probably call that good, because once you wash this like 2 times, that'll fade away. Yeah, so that's a cool feature of the, you know, woolly fabrics. They just hold that stuff up off the surface. I don't know if you want, like... Okay, so what I'm gonna do, the last test is actually like the knitter's nightmare, which is, this is gonna get put through the wash on hot, like on a regular hot cycle with regular old detergent. And then it's gonna get thrown into the dryer on high heat and dried. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take these same things and I'm gonna like rub them into the fabric, because this particular swatch is about to get nuked in the washing machine anyway, and we'll just see what happens. Does this stuff come out or stain or what? I'm just curious at this point. Okay, let's like rub that stuff in there nice and good. I was trying to think of other things that stain. I know like red wine, but I don't really have wine. So I figured the jelly would be a good substitute for that. Alrighty. So I'm gonna throw this in the wash, throw it in the dryer, and we'll see how it fares. Here we are. Last part of the trials. So this is the swatch that's been put through hell after going through a hot water wash and a hot dryer. One thing I do notice is that all that stuff that we rubbed on there is gone, except I do think like there's definitely a bit of a yellowish there, right? That's got to be where that mustard was. But this has definitely felt it a bit. Let's see if you can hear it. You hear all those fibers sort of like ripping apart? Yeah. So let's put it next to the original swatch. And you can see how much it's shrunk up vertically. And the color difference is pretty significant, actually. That tugging I just did, it has loosened it up quite a bit, actually. You can see here, I don't know if you can tell, this is definitely where that mustard was. There's a bit of yellowish. It shows up more in the video than it does in real life, but it's definitely there where the mustard was. But the jam and the coffee are gone. All said and done, wow. After tugging all those felted fibers apart, it's actually loosened up like quite a bit. And while it looks worse for wear, you could probably still wear this as a garment. Assuming it had some amount of ease in it, you might still be able to wear this. I'm just testing the relative stretchiness of it now. Let's see. It's not as loose. Let's see. Let's line them up and do it. Yeah, it is tightened up. It's like bound up a little bit more. I have to say, overall, I am really impressed with this yarn. This honestly performed way better than I expected it to. Just because it had the silk and the cashmere in there, I kind of assumed it would be more delicate than it really was. And this yarn is really awesome. Like, it fared so well during the wear trials. It had way less pilling than I thought it would. Even now, after having gone through the hot water and the dryer, like, yeah, it is a little damaged. It is. But depending on the garment, you could still totally wear this. Like, all the stitches are still visible, like individually visible. There's still plenty of movement. The sun, being out in the sun, I'm in Florida, so the UV here is really strong, and it was out in the sun for 5 days, and it faded a little bit, but it still looks really good. So yeah, I would highly recommend this yarn. I would give this yarn like 9 out of 10, maybe. I don't know, it's hard. I haven't rated other yarns. This is my first one, so I'm just gonna throw out 9 out of 10. Only because I you know, it's hard to throw out a 10 on my first one, because who knows, like, what amazing, miraculous yarns there are out in the world. But yeah, this one's good. I think this would look good basically for anything. Like, I think this would be a great all-around, all-purpose yarn. You could do color work with this because it does have a bit of a halo from the cashmere. You could do cabling with this. You could just do straight up stockinette, and the dye job itself will make the stockinette look so good, look really nice. I even think that you could use this for socks. I think you could absolutely use this for socks, and it will wear really well as on your feet. So I approve of this yarn, Pashmina by Madeline Tosh, and I will put a link in the description to my Ravelry page where I've I've got a favorites folder where I've picked out some patterns that I think like would suit this yarn. Though, as I said, I think this is an all-around good yarn. You could use it for just about anything. But I've done it nonetheless. So that's it. This is my first video of this type. So I would love comments or recommendations or other things you'd like me to cover on, you know, about yarns or things you worry about when you buy a yarn that you would like me to address. And hopefully over time, I'm going to improve my production value and make everything awesome and better. But that's it for now. Thank you for your time.